Hello everyone, this latest tutorial brings us back to Blender. So here you can see I've selected the right side of the Vega interior. That's because I have to find where it is on the UV map. So I go to the UV editor here, and there it is. And I have to add some additional labels to the texture XCF file before I continue, because I have to know where I'm going to put the door panels, as well as some other features. So you can see it's roughly there. So in a few minutes I will zoom into that. And now I'm going to mark it with the line tool. Now the line tool in Gimp is far from obvious. I had to look this up actually. I create a layer, not in every situation where you use the line tool, but in this situation. And you pick one of the drawing tools, whether the pencil, the paintbrush, the airbrush, or so on. You can look this up online. Pencil makes the most sense. You click at the start of your line. I'm going to go and change this to red in a minute. But at first I have to actually use a hard edge because I don't want this to look like a spray painted line. I want this to look like a blueprint line. So I go to red, draw a dot, then hold down the shift key to drag from that dot to the end of the line. Then you click left in the case of this. And then I'm going to mark the other end of the right side. You can see what I'm doing. I'm actually using the exported UV layout, which is the bottom layer of my texture file. This is one of many reasons why it's a good idea to construct your XCF files this way when you're doing textures. And I'm putting that line, that guideline if you will, in a separate layer as well. Again, it's good to break stuff up into layers when you're doing this so that you don't have to erase anything and so on. One layer needs to be edited, then you can edit it separately with less risk. Speaking of that, I'm moving the sides label back to make room for the mini sides labels for each part of the sides. I'm not going to mark the back, but the back is the bottommost segment of this. First I have to do the right side, the right door panel location. Text is red because my pencil tool is red. So I have to switch it to black. I increase the size to make it easier to read to 24 points. Then I use the rotate tool so that it fits in there a little bit better, minus 90 degrees. Rotate, then move it. Zoom out. So in any case, I have to go to Blender next to find the other side to know exactly where it is. I roughly know already because of the shape, but I'm being especially careful. So I select all the faces on that side using Shift right click. Here I accidentally selected part of the steering wheel, which I'll have to undo later. These little bits here are a little bit tedious. I've talked to some other developers about this, and they tell me that it's better not to have all these little faces, all these extra vertices. The problem with that mentality, and I'm correcting the steering wheel, is that a lot of exporters won't accept a model that doesn't have everything connected in triangles and so on. So anyway, there's the left side, which is more or less where I expect it to be. And so I have to mark it with the red lines, same as before. Zoom in again. Pencil tool, it's already set up. So I just have to move myself into position here. Dot, Shift, and I got it. All right, so then I have to put another label there. I have to turn it to black again, same old problem. After increasing the size to 24 points again. Rotate as before, minus 90 degrees. And then use the move tool to move it into position. Clean it up a little bit there. I wanted these to be in roughly the same place in relation to each other to keep them neat. Then the footwell I've spotted there in the front. That will matter later because I'm going to have to... Well, I don't have to, but I would like to put in some pedal graphics, very crude pedal graphics, to complete everything. Yeah, it's got to be black. It's got to be rotated into place. And moved into place. And there we have it. So a little bit of cleanup here again. Then I put these into one layer because they're text layers, and I've talked about this before, that can get incredibly disorderly very fast and can have problems for scaling and so on. So I'm going to merge them both into the labels layer. And there it is, my relabeled XCF file. I will save it as 1.1.3. just in case. It's always good to... Really, I should have done this in the beginning, ideally. And then I'm going to do the same thing back in Blender with the model file. But before I do that, I might as well prepare an actual texture for it. So I kill the opacity on these, or rather make the opacity 100% on these partially transparent letters, and once those are exported to Targa, that will be the new texture file. Not that it's changed very radically yet. I may actually keep the same file names when I add the door panels, because this is not a major step, actually. Here I'm changing the texture note in both the UV editor and in the materials editor, just to be sure that works out properly. And it's going to end up looking exactly the same on the model, but this is preparation for later. So I will see you then when I do that. Thanks for watching.